everyone, it's Jen here and welcome to Jen's Wild About Art. So today I'm going to do a nautilus for you. It's a lovely looking shellfish. They're a cephalopod, so they're related to squids and octopus and creatures like that, but I absolutely love the colours on them, so I thought I'd give one a go today. And I'm actually using my Daniel Smith watercolours, which I haven't tried before. I just got a set the other day, so I thought I'd give those a go. So I use my Daniel Smith watercolours and also my Schmincke watercolours. So I start by drawing the outline, and I use my mechanical pencil first because then I can adjust everything as I need to and if I need to erase anything. Then when I'm happy, I go over the outline with my 003 micron pen, and then I start to add in all the detail that I've marked. And yeah, so you can see I'm going around the dots on the front of his shell and around his eye, and I start to add all these little tentacles in, and I fill in all around everywhere. And I did count the tentacles, but I lost count. And now I go in and I start to add the patterns onto the shell. And they are beautiful, vibrant coloured shells. So yeah, I'm going to have a bit of fun with this because I've got a few new colours with the Daniel Smith collection that I'm excited to try actually. So I start off by using Buff Titanium, which is one of my new colours. And I add that onto the shell, which is one of the reasons I came up with this for a prompt, because I really wanted to use Buff Titanium. So I added that to the whole shell and anywhere that's going to be a light area on the nautilus. And then I go in with a little bit of cerulean blue and I take that around his eye and his tentacles, and then I add a darker blue to the pupil on the eye. Now I go back to my Schmincke watercolours, and because I wanted a bit of a reddy brown colour and I don't have that in the Daniel Smiths yet, so I'm using my transparent sienna, and I take that around all the stripes to begin with. I'll add more vibrant colours as I go. I'm going to build up in lots and lots of layers, but I'm just getting all the base colours on now. And now, as you can see, I start with some quinacridone rose, and I take that around the stripes, and I'll just build up layers and layers and layers. So yeah, I'm adding in the quinacridone rose now, and I take that around the front of his shell, on the protective thing on the front of his face, and then I go in with a stronger layer, so even less water, more pigment of quinacridone rose, and you can see that's really starting to brighten up nicely. And you can see I've also smudged some paint on the side of my painting, but that doesn't matter. I'll clean that up after and I'll show you how I do that. So now I'm going back in with a little bit of transparent sienna, slightly thicker as well, more pigment. And over the top of that, I'm adding a little bit of cadmium orange. Now I go back onto the shell, onto the stripes again with another layer of quinacridone rose, and then I go in with some permanent alizarin crimson because I wanted to get some more depth into the crimsons. And I start to work on the little tentacles and go back around that protective shield on the face. And go work my way around the dots, trying to leave the dots as the white of the paper. And then I go back over the top again, this time with a bit of Pyrrole Scarlet. And now on the bottom of the shell, I'm adding a grey tone, which I'm not completely happy with, so I will alter that afterwards. I let it dry and then I go over the top of it again with a slightly stronger orange colour, just to, yeah, I wasn't happy with the effect I created. So you can see I rubbed out the little splodges I had on the side that I'd messed up a little bit of paint. I just wet the brush and ran over it again and just sort of lifted it off the paper. And then I add a background. I wet the whole background with clean water and I drop in some cerulean blue. And then when I've got that on, while it's still damp, I add some ultramarine blue. And I take that just around the bottom half of the nautilus and I build up that in a few layers while it's still damp. And then I get a little bit of indigo and I take that around the very bottom part of the nautilus because I want to create contrast. So your darkest darks against your light areas, and the bottom of the shell is the lightest part, so I add the darkest shadows underneath in the water. And you can see here I'm going over with the cadmium orange again, just to cover up that sort of mess I made with the grey, trying to create shadows. And I also take that orange around his tentacles and onto his little valve part that he sort of pushes himself around with. They propel themselves with like an air valve on the front underneath his tentacles. And then I go in with some very dark, so I've created a very dark purple using indigo and red, and I take that around the bottom of his tentacles and anywhere that's the darkest areas on the Nautilus. And I also take that, I dilute it a little bit, but then I take that around the top of the shell and anywhere that I can see that just needs a little bit of contrast. Around his eye, around the bottom of his shell. So we're just about done. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'd love it if you click and like and subscribe and click on the bell icon. That way you'll be notified when I release a new video. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys and girls. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time. Okie doke.